Yo fam, it's me, Sasha Denbright, and welcome to episode 7 of the 2024 season of You Call That Targeting! Man, what an epic game between Georgia and Alabama. We're going to talk about that. I'm here with my co-host, Mike Rochburns, and we got Earl Maynard that's on location. He's, again, at College Station for the Texas A&M. It's Missouri at Texas A&M is going to be our game of the week this week. But let's recap this last week, and let's not talk about the garbage game of the week. Let me get my paper. All right, recapping the garbage that happened last week. Louisville at Notre Dame. Everybody knew who I was picking. And Notre Dame got the job done, 31-24. Me and Earl picked Notre Dame. And then Illinois at Penn State. We all picked Penn State. And yes, Penn State won 21-7. And then Oklahoma State at Kansas State. I went with Kansas State. I had the hunch that they would get things together. Earl and Mike didn't give an absolute crap about Kansas State and picked Oklahoma State. And guess what? Kansas State won 42-20. I'm just racking up points all over the garbage place. And then the game of the week, me and Earl picked Alabama. Mike picked Georgia like an absolute tit-sucking moron. And, Alabama wins 41-34. Also, in the NFL game, I was the only one to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they won 33-16. And none of us got the NASCAR pick right because, what's his name? Ross Chastain ended up winning, not even in the playoffs, and he wins like an absolute idiot. And, so we didn't get that right. But, let's move on to the points now. In the points, I'm in the lead, and I got a pretty good lead. I got 18 points. Mike has 14, like an absolute piece of trash, but there's no greater piece of trash than Earl Maynard. He's sitting with 13 points, like an absolute garbage moron. The Iowa money, we didn't raise any money because they had a bye week, and I think they play Ohio State this next week, so it's not looking very likely to add another $5 to the pot, but hey, we'll see. Pulling for the upset for the children. All right. And, so I guess it's time. Man, I flew through that recap. Anyways, let's give away some daggum awards. Starting with my team of the week, I got to give it to the Kentucky Wildcats for beating number 6 Ole Miss 20-17. I mean, Ole Miss, I believe, was overranked. They haven't got challenged yet. I was a little worried about them because they looked great, but my goodness, you hadn't played anybody. You played a bunch of high school teams and you put up big numbers. Whoop-de-de-flip-and-do. Who cares? But Ole Miss gets beat when they actually play somebody pretty decent. And we know Kentucky's pretty decent, even though they got their nipples blown off by South Carolina earlier in the year. They lost to Georgia by 1 point. So I think this Kentucky defense is the absolute real deal. And I believe they're going to beat a couple of more decent teams this year. But yeah, they exposed Ole Miss for the garbage that they are. I'm not saying Ole Miss is out of the playoff or they can definitely turn some things around. But what a way to get challenged and not show up. What a trash team. But speaking of trash teams, I guess that leads us right into trash teams. Trash it. Starting with... Oh, wait, first I want to, before we start talking trash teams, I want to shout out Army and Navy right now. Army's 4-0, Navy's 3-0. They got some playmakers. I'm real excited to see what they do for the rest of the year. Everybody knows my favorite game is the Army-Navy game at the end of the year, and my goodness, if it's anything like they have been playing so far, it is going to be an absolute knockdown drag-out. Looking forward to it. But anyways, let's talk some trash. Starting with Michigan. My gosh. Michigan wins by 3 against Minnesota. Michigan is just nothing but pure nipples. I mean, that's all they've been, is nipple, nipple, nipple all year. And they're ranked number 10 at Washington this week. And guess what? They're underdogs. Washington's favored in that game because Michigan's nothing but pure dumpage. They've been trash all year. Next trash team, we've already talked about them, the Ole Miss Rebels. You can't lose to Kentucky. You can't lose to unranked teams. I mean, my goodness, everybody was basically walking you right into the college football playoff, and then you play against a decent, okay SEC school and lose that game. What a piece of trash. Next trash team is Auburn, and they have just been nothing but pure garbage. I mean, just trash after trash after trash. I mean, their quarterback is nothing but pure garbage. I think he completes more passes to the opposite team than he does his own team. Nothing but garbage. Auburn had Oklahoma against the ropes and was throwing haymakers, and then Oklahoma sneaks their way back into the game, and then Auburn, of course, throws an interception late in the fourth quarter, ends up being a pick six, and Oklahoma wins that game. What a piece of garbage Auburn is. Next trash team, number 10 Utah loses to Arizona 23-10. This game was on real late. I didn't care to watch it. Garbage. I ain't gonna stay to watch trash teams, but Utah, ranked number 10, you should win that game. Nothing but pure trash. And next is something a little different I haven't done before. I'm gonna split it into two halves. In the first half of the Georgia-Alabama game, Georgia was nothing but pure garbage. My gosh, Carson Beck or whatever the trash his name is, he looks like Napoleon Dynamite. He was out there just throwing. I mean, I promise you, I could have played better quarterback. I know my skills in high school. I could have went out there and played better quarterback than he did in that first half. Nothing but pure garbage. It looked like Georgia didn't even know what to do. They were scared for their life. Alabama destroyed them early, and I thought for sure this is going to be like 42-7 or something final score. But then that brings me to my next trash team is Alabama in the second half. And it's not that they just gave it away with like turnovers and they just couldn't move the ball anymore. I don't know if it was just conservative play calling or Georgia made the right adjustments and they just played better. I don't know. But man, Alabama was nothing but pure garbage. Even let Georgia take the lead after being up that big. But then Georgia went back to being trash and gave up a 75-yard touchdown for Bama to take the lead. And then throw an interception in the end zone trying to go for the tie at the end. So Georgia overall was probably 80% trash this game. But Alabama definitely had a stretch of trash. So I had to throw them in on my trash teams. But now, it's time for my absolute trash team. My absolute trash team, welcome back, the Florida State Seminoles. My gosh! Florida State is nothing but pure, putrid nipples. My goodness, Mike Norvell, garbage. DJ Uiagalelei with his broken finger, garbage. The backup Brock Glenn, garbage. I mean, it's just garbage everywhere. I don't even know a defensive player, but I'm just going to say for every defensive player that stepped onto the field, garbage. Because you lost to SMU 42-16. My gosh, wasn't even close. I was hoping they would get their nipples blown off and get down to earth again, just shatter their dreams and shatter their souls. And it happened. SMU, thank you so much. They probably should have been my team of the week, but I mean, it ain't much beating trash like Florida State. But I do appreciate the absolute butt stomping that you gave Florida State. Thank you so much. But now it's time to move on to questions. First question is from Guadalupe's Lawn Care Service. It says, if you saw a yard that needed work from someone with a weed eater, would you say A, hey, that yard needs weed eated? B, hey, that yard needs weed ate? C, hey, that yard needs Guadalupe's Lawn Care Service pronto? Call us for all your lawn care needs. I've seen your yard, Sasha. There's watermelon rinds everywhere. Excuse me, I like to feed the animals and the insects in my yard. There ain't no sense in throwing a watermelon rind in the trash. It It helps the environment to throw it out. And I know last week I talked about the environment and how I didn't care, but there's no sense in throwing perfectly good watermelon rind in the trash when you could throw it out in the yard. It's just going to dispose of itself into the ground and feed some animals in the process. So get over it, Guadalupe. And the correct way of saying that, I would probably say you need your yard weed eated. But here's the thing. I feel like that's a shameless plug for your trash lawn care service. So you will receive a bill in the mail to go towards the sponsorship of this podcast. And speaking of sponsorship, I would like to thank Truck Burns for all that they do. And speaking of truck burns, they are mentioned in this next question. Question is Jeff Gordon still fruity? He's married with kids. I wouldn't say he's fruity. I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit, but who cares? It says, Sasha, if you could ride shotgun in a full race with any NASCAR driver current day, who would it be? And it says, also, Mike, do you have truck burns like Sasha does on his truck, or are you smarter than that? If I could ride shotgun with anybody, I'm picking my favorite driver, which is Ryan Blaney, because I feel like we're going to be running up towards the front. I feel like he stays in races more often. I wouldn't want to ride with Corey LaJoie. He'd probably spin out first lap. Nothing but pure garbage. Same with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I mean, he's called Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for a reason. He's nothing but pure trash. And I mean, really, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would probably, if I got the opportunity, I probably would ride a passenger seat with a lot of them. But Ryan Blaney would be my pick. But Mike, do you want to answer the question about if you have truck burns or not?
Well, yeah, I'll answer it. I mean, the way he said that, like, if you're smarter than that, I don't like that. Because I really like truck burns. I do own some truck burns. And heck, I got truck burns on my wife's minivan. So we really like truck burns. It gets a lot of great attention. If you're pumping gas somewhere, people want to take pictures with your truck or your car, or your van or whatever. Yeah, I love truck burns. So I don't like him dissing them like that. I mean, everybody here on the podcast rock some burns, and yeah, we're really appreciative of truck burns and what they do for us.
All right, next question is from Scoot My Butt Across the Rug. It says, I started to ride off Colorado, and I know Prime is a good coach, but they were getting on my absolute nerves in the media. And do you think it's necessary for Travis Hunter to be playing both ways? I know he's good, like Tig's mom, but you got to think about injuries. Yeah, there's a lot in this question. I think Colorado's trash. I mean, yeah, they got some playmakers, whatever, but put them in the SEC and see where Colorado stands. I mean, my goodness, they can barely squeak by playing people like Colorado State. They got whipped tits by Nebraska. Wasn't even close. Shador Sanders, everybody talks about him like he's the greatest thing ever, and he might end up having a career at quarterback. Who knows? They talk about Travis Hunter like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And here's the thing. Ryan Williams, who's 17 years old playing for Alabama, would absolutely just run circles around Travis Hunter. Way better wide receiver. And he's doing it against elite talent like Georgia. Travis Hunter's garbage. Let's see Travis Hunter try to run routes against Georgia or Alabama's defense. Let's see him go up against Texas and try to stop that offense. He's nothing but mediocre trash. And yeah, the media blows him up. I saw one time, I think it was Colorado's first game of the year, their ESPN's Instagram posted like 30 posts about Colorado in like one day. Nothing but pure trash. I hate the media, and I hate Colorado. So, thanks for your question. Next question is from Franny Farts. It says, hi, Sasha. I'm a big fan of the show. That's really all I had to say. Anyways, tell Earl I'd love to have a drink with him sometime, and I think Indiana will win the national championship. Much love, Franny Farts. Well, you live a sad life if you want to have a drink with Earl and you think Indiana's going to win the national championship. Nothing but pure trash. I know Indiana's like 5-0 and they're ranked 23rd, but they're going to get their absolute nipples blown off by somebody this year. They play in too tough of a conference. They're not going to go undefeated, so don't give your hopes up. And Earl is nothing but pure trash. I don't know who would want to have a drink with Earl, and really Earl needs to stop drinking because he is an absolute moron, and he's real close to getting fired from this show. But that leads us right in to talking to Earl about the NASCAR race.
Oh, yeah, Sasha. Pretty eventful race. It wasn't as good as the Kansas race in the spring, but it was all right. It was a pretty good race. Ross Chastain ends up pulling, the upset. He's not even in the playoffs and ended up getting the win. But yeah, a lot of playoff drivers had terrible days, including Tyler Reddick. He was nothing but pure hot garbage. And he's usually good at Kansas. Christopher Bell had opportunities to run up front, and it seems like he'd always scrape the wall and lose positions. And just pretty much a lot of trash drivers out there that I feel like I could hop in the car and do better than them. But anyways, we're moving on to Talladega, and what's great about Talladega is me, you, and Mike are all going to actually be there in Talladega. Real excited to hang out with the fans, and you know what I like to do at Talladega, and there's plenty of it. And we're going to have a great time. Maybe not as, y'all won't have as great of a time as me, but hey, I'm single, living it up, baby. But anyways, so my pick for Talladega is, I'm going to go with Joey Logano. I mean, I picked him to win Atlanta in the playoff, another super speedway track, and he did that for me. So I think he's going to step it up, and I think he's going to win this race. And what do you got, Sasha?
I'm going to go with his teammate, and I've already talked about him. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. I mean, last year in the playoff, he won at Talladega, and I got to witness it in person, and I hope to witness it in person again this year.
I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. I mean, I know he's not a playoff driver, but this guy, every time we go to a super speedway, he seems to be running up front. He was leading the last lap at Talladega in the spring before he tried to throw a block on Brad Keselowski and ended up wrecking. And I think not only Michael McDowell can win this race, I think he's going to qualify probably on the pole or at least the front row. This guy just masters super speedway racing, so that's why I'm picking him to win.
All right, Mike, what is the NFL game for this week?
We're going to go with the Dallas Cowboys at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really no reason. I mean, this is a Sunday night football game, and it's in prime time. Steelers have had a great defense, but they did lose to the Colts this last week. And then, you've had Dallas look good sometimes, and they look bad sometimes. But I just felt like, I wanted to pick some different teams, and so we threw in, I was wanting to pick the Steelers, and that's why I picked that one. So, and I'm going to go with Dallas. I think they get the job done on the road, and I think they can handle that Pittsburgh offense because it's really not that great.
Mike, that's why you're nothing but pure trash for picks like that. I'm going with Pittsburgh. They're at home, and man, that defense is great. Give me the Steelers all the way.
Well, guys, you know how I feel about Cowboys, and I like the name Cowboys. I usually pick Cowboys, but I got to go with the Steelers. When I was young and Mom would take us shopping, I used to love, at the checkout, that bubble gum was right there, and it was easy access to put in your pockets. And I stole a lot of gum when I was a kid, and luckily never got caught. Never had to go pay for it. And honestly, I still do it to this day. And I guess you could call me a Steeler. And that's why I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Earl, I hope you know that it's a completely different steel. What an idiot. Anyways, let's make some college football picks. Alright guys, let's make some college football picks. Earl is in College Station at Twin Peaks. I think we know why he picked Twin Peaks for the location. But anyways, Earl, let's get into making some picks. Starting with the first game, Syracuse at UNLV. UNLV has snuck into the top 25 by a nipple hair. They are ranked 25th. I'm going to go with UNLV. They're at home. They're rolling this year. I don't know much about them. They're usually trash, but they're good this year. Give me UNLV.
I'm going to take Syracuse in this game. I think they pull the upset, and I think they end the little streak that UNLV has going.
Well, yeah, Sasha, I mean, I think you know exactly why I picked this place, and man, it's a great view here, and I'm really enjoying myself. I already got a few phone numbers. People love Earl here. I mean, it's just simple as that. College Station actually accepted me back because I did pick Notre Dame to beat them earlier in the year. I got booed out of the stadium, but hey, here I'm pretty much a legend, and people are, I mean, they're sending drinks over. You know, they're buying my food. I'm having a great time, and we all know I'm going to get the karaoke machine fired up later. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go with UNLV.
All right, next game is that trash team I was talking about earlier, Michigan. My gosh, at Washington, unranked Washington, and Washington is a 1-point favorite in the game. And I'm going to go with Washington because I think Michigan is nothing but pure trash.
Well, you might think they're pure trash, and yeah, they have struggled in a lot of games, but they are way more talented than this Washington team. This Washington team lost so much after that national championship appearance last year. I'm going to take the Wolverines.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Michigan hasn't looked that great. They've been just mediocre, kind of like a DiGiorno frozen pizza, good but not great, but can get the job done. And I think Michigan will get the job done against Washington. I think their talent will show in this game. I will take Michigan.
All right, next is Ole Miss out at South Carolina. I mean, Ole Miss did look like pure trash against Kentucky. But, hey, I think Kentucky is pretty good, or I think they at least have a good defense. I know South Carolina really don't have anything. They're nothing but garbage. Give me Ole Miss to win big on the road.
I'm going to agree, Sasha. I mean, yeah, they did stumble against Kentucky. But, hey, if you're a good team, you're going to bounce back. You're going to learn from your mistakes. I think Ole Miss bounces back in a big way. I think they handle South Carolina pretty easily.
Did y'all not watch Ole Miss lose to Kentucky? I mean, I can't believe y'all are picking them. There's no way they go into South Carolina and win that game. South Carolina's going to be all over them like catfish on a chicken liver. And once they hear that Sandstorm song or whatever it's called, that I mean, it's over. I mean, South Carolina is going to go handle their business, and Ole Miss is going to lose 2 weeks in a row.
All right, one more game before our game of the week. It is going to be Navy at Air Force. Like I mentioned earlier, Navy and Army has looked great. Navy has a spectacular playmaker in that slot back position. I'm looking forward to seeing them play against Air Force. Give me Navy. I hope Navy pulls off an undefeated season.
Yeah, I love when the academies play one another. Air Force doesn't look as good as Navy and Army this year, but man, you can just never tell about these games. But my gut is saying I'm going to go with Navy, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Well, guys, I mean, the Air Force, they think they're all cool and flying their planes around, and look at us, we're flying and barrel rolling and slick back hair and whatever Air Force does, and then all of a sudden they're going to be flying around like they're somebody, and then you're just going to hear a shot from a naval ship, and then you're going to hear that plane going. Game over. Navy wins.
It gets harder and harder every week to do the show with Earl. He's nothing but pure garbage. Game of the week, Missouri at Texas A&M. We all know how tough it is to play at Texas A&M, But I know one thing. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish went in there and whipped your tits. And so is Missouri. Missouri's going to win this game by at least 17 points.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No way. I mean, Missouri's ranked number 9, but guess what? They're not even favored in this game. Texas A&M is tough. Missouri's had some crazy struggle wins. They shouldn't have even beat Vanderbilt. I think Texas A&M being at home is going to get this thing done.
I would rather fart in a wet paper bag and suck in the air in and out and in and out and in and out until I get high on my own flatulence before I would pick against Texas A&M. It's just not going to happen. I picked against them one time and it did work out for me, but man, these fans are too good to me, and College Station's tough. I picked them to win this game and pull the upset. Missouri hadn't impressed me at all. If you need overtime to beat Vanderbilt, there's no way you're a true top 10 team. So, yeah, give me Texas A&M Aggies all the way. And, I'm going to get back to enjoying some alcoholic beverages and some fine women. And, anyways, we'll see y'all next week. Oh, wait, can I do the outro, or do you need to do it, Sasha?
I need to do it, you idiot. My goodness. Anyways, looking forward to this next week. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, we are going to be at Talladega Superspeedway this Sunday. Super excited for that. And I can't wait to recap all of these awesome games with you next week. Appreciate you listening to the podcast, and we'll catch you next time.